Today we're going to look at the most iconic spot in all of extreme sports, Lyon 25. It's a monster 4.5 meter high, 7 meter long stair set in the heart of France that only the best and bravest heroes of action sports have traveled from all around the world to conquer. You've probably seen this clip from Jaws, known as the largest stair set ollie in skateboarding history. But with that clip, he set off a crazy domino effect of other action sports athletes trying to jump, spin, and flip down it, all for a chance to end up in the Extreme Sports Hall of Fame. So we're going to look at all the successful attempts, and maybe a few unsuccessful, to find out who has done the most impressive thing at Lyon 25. However, I must first remind you that these guys are all professionals with years of experience and have taken every precaution necessary to do this as safely as possible. The story begins back in 2002 when Swedish skater Boulala threw himself down the biggest stair set ever attempted, not once, not twice, but 3 times. On the first one, his skateboard exploded, but he put a new board together and hit it again. On the second one, he comes in just a little bit crooked and basically takes a heavy parkour-style impact roll. But on this third attempt, he completely loses his skateboard and comes crashing down straight onto his feet. It's pretty gruesome, so I'm not going to show it here, but I'll put a link to the original video in the description. Now, he didn't try it again, but he could never have imagined the effect that this would have on the world of extreme sports. However, the real reason why everyone wants to hit this set is because of the Arizona man, Aaron Jaws Homoki, who famously conquered the set in 2015 in what was one of the greatest moments in extreme sports history.
Right here, John! Zip!
This is not only one of the most mind-blowing clips, but also one of the hardest fought wars in all of sports. Jaws completely tore his ACL on his first trip there in 2014, spent a whole year recovering, and then came back 16 months later to try again. This time, not only with his team, but with his dad and Boulala, the man who tried it 13 years prior, to support him. All flown out by Thrasher specifically for this jump. On October 10th, 2015, he pulled up, took that massive concrete drop as a warm-up, and then attempted it 3 times before being kicked out by security. But on October 12th, they did something that no one else on this list has tried, and it's probably the only reason that he managed to get it done.
We went to the security guard with my plane ticket, me in the Tony Hawk game, and like me in a magazine, showing them that I'm a pro skater, showing them what I'm gonna do, and they gave us 1 hour.
And he used that hour to put together not 1, not 5, but 13 attempts, 13 slams and falls and broken wheels. 13 times, he risked it all, doing back-to-back attempts with almost no break in between.
Yeah, you got to keep that adrenaline going. You have to, dude. I'm just like, dude, go, go, go. It's happening now or it's not happening.
And that's what it took to get it done. So big ups French Fred and the security guard for helping to make this happen.
After this is done, French Fred went to the office with the cover of the magazine and a box of chocolates to thank the security.
Oh, wow, dude.
Jaws was 13 when he first saw Ali hit the set. So to finally accomplish his childhood dream with Ali right there supporting him, it's about as perfect as it gets.
When you imagine something and have it in your head for so long, and then it actually happens, it doesn't feel real. It feels like you're dreaming. Yeah. And so it's just like this brief moment of existence where time doesn't matter. And I'm not even kidding, when I ran over here, I sat in that corner and cried for like 3 minutes.
2 years later, the council installed skater haters at the top of the set, but that only seemed to encourage the next man to try, who shortly after became the first ever scooter rider to attempt the set.
Today, I'm gonna jump the damn line 25.
What the f***?
I mean, the dude can't pronounce Lyon to save his life, but damn, that was close. That's probably still to this day the closest non-landed attempt on the set.
Let's go, yo! Get this fire! Let's go!
He did manage managed to destroy a few of his friend's scooters on 3 more unsuccessful attempts before security grabbed him and kicked him out of the spot. However, he didn't sustain any serious injuries, and he maintains that if the security didn't kick him out, he would have made it. So fair play to Jared for being the first scooter rider to give it a go and prove that it was possible. The next man to try it used no wheels whatsoever, just a dude. It is of course Dom Tomato, who decided to front flip down the stairs in 2018. Dom was super confident when he went for this. He'd been doing a lot of big front flips in the lead up, including the Munster front flip, which he still considers one of his top 3 biggest sends.
Whoa, you're a madman.
But security is a real problem at Lyon 25, so he got down there, looked at it once, and then went for it straight away.
3, 2, 1.
And as he took off, it looked perfect. He dove out smoothly without collecting any unnecessary height, got the distance just right, and landed a couple of feet from the edge. But he landed just slightly too straight, so his left foot took way too much impact, and he came away with a fractured heel and some severe bruising. Just a few degrees more rotation and he probably would have been okay. But that's how fine the margins are when you're jumping on concrete from these heights.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't like not being able to train for like 2 weeks just because of one jump. Feels kind of stupid.
Next up, the most famous athlete on this list by far, the legendary Fabio Wibmer, hit Lyon 25 on his mountain bike and honestly made it look easy. He absolutely gassed it at full speed and didn't even need to jump, but still made it further than all the other athletes on this list. Now, obviously his bike has suspension, so you could argue that it's easier than some of the other sports to have done it. But at the end of his video, he revealed that he did a massive gap over another stair set as a drop-in for Lyon 25. But the YouTube video doesn't actually show you if he did both jumps in the same take. They just cut to black and advertise his behind-the-scenes documentary. So I bought the documentary, in which they reveal that he went there on 2 separate occasions. Both attempts involved a coordinated operation in which they would quickly remove the barrier for him to send it down the stairs. On the first one, he came off his bike, and then the security and police were so aggressive that they made them delete all their footage so that all they were left with was this top angle. However, on the second attempt, he got it done. But I'm not going to show you everything. Go buy the documentary, it's incredible. The following year in 2020, Aurel Giraud, a French pro skater who's actually from Lyon, took advantage of the COVID lockdown restrictions, removed the skate stoppers, and gave it a go. He went for it 5 times, deciding to swap out his board after coming off on the first one before falling off every which way over 5 attempts. On Aurel's final attempt, he lost his skateboard in the air and, similar to Ali's attempt all those years ago, really messed up his foot on the landing. This next one is definitely the most ridiculous sport to attempt it so far. In 2021, Keiran Touly sent himself down the set on a motorbike. Even after surviving the landing, it's extremely difficult to shift the weight of the bike back up straight. So once he loses any kind of balance, the bike is bound to go down. After 3 gnarly attempts, he called it, with no intent to go back and do it again because he says the risk of injury is just too high. The next athlete's parents knew exactly what they were doing when they named him. Courage Adams, a Nigerian-born rider based out of Madrid, made the trip to Lyon in 2021 to attempt the jump on a BMX. He wasted no time going for his first attempt, and it was pretty damn clean. He managed to stumble out of it without even falling over. However, on his second attempt, he reminded us just how far this set really is by being the first person to not make the distance as he caught his back wheel on the final steps. But he wasn't giving up there. After quickly repairing the damage to his bike, he went for it again. The world's first and only BMXer to ever complete Lyon 25, and with a bar spin for good measure. You can also see a clear adjustment he made from the 2 previous attempts. On the successful attempt, Courage got his center of gravity further back, allowing for a much greater lift of that front wheel, which helped him absorb the massive impact and stay on his bike. Now, Courage wasn't actually the first one to try this. 3 years earlier, Miki Fleck, also from Spain, came to the spot before sunrise and in an extremely stressful affair where he was being yelled at from the moment he entered the premises, put together 2 solid attempts before being aggressively thrown out by security. The next man to conquer this set was the German jackass Jan Schlappen, who had his eyes set on this moment for pretty much his whole parkour career.
Komm, Junge. 2, 3.
Oh. Alter.
That reaction should tell you everything you need to know about what this meant to him. Although it was pretty funny because after he does it, everyone holds their breath while he runs a quick system scan to see if he's injured. And then he celebrates. Jan did this last year in 2024, which was 6 years after Dom first attempted it. And he really did spend all that time working towards it. The first time Jan went there was in 2019, but he decided not to take his shoes to the spot, so he didn't suddenly get hyped and injure himself trying it.
Safety first.
Back then he knew he wasn't ready for it, but he spent the following 5 years leveling up his big front flips, including doing a 22 stair set in his hometown. So when he finally came back to Lyon last year, he was on another level. The Schlappen boys drove 9 hours each way just for this jump, and it got me thinking that Lyon 25 creates a somewhat unique psychological phenomenon. Because a lot of these athletes are traveling so far specifically for the set and bringing whole teams to film with them, there's not really an option to not commit.
Und der kann noch geiler werden, wenn wir jetzt 12 Stunden hin, 12 Stunden zurück gefahren sind, damit ich das gar nicht erst mache.
Dann fahren wir aber alle zusammen 12 hin und ohne Jan zurück.
Don't get me wrong, these are all top-tier action sports athletes who are up to the challenge. But the usual process of assessing the jump and deciding whether or not to do it almost goes out the window as they've got their minds already pretty much made up.
Ich dachte, ich muss jetzt rein. Ich war so 98% ready, weißt du? Und nicht die 100, um mich voll zu fokussieren. Aber das war es, runter.
So it just comes down to try to land it and try to survive.
Ich hätte da mich nicht dazu entschieden, barfuß hier hinzugehen, da runter zu springen, wäre tot.
Sagst du?
Das war schon ein Impact. Oh, Lyon 25 oder was? Ja!
Only 2 months later, Ted Ponceau, a crazy French stuntman who was the first to double side flip manpower, flipped Lyon 25 and made it look like nothing. And then the following month in September, another German by the name of Gunnar Floid hit it too.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Not quite as clean as the other two, but fair play, he got it done and he seemed to be completely fine, although his celebration was very weird.
You're 25! Yes! 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 Red Bull! I want to be your next athlete!
As he's running up, he yells, Lyon 25! And then when he makes it, the first thing he does is ask for a Red Bull sponsorship. I guess you can't blame a man for trying, although it does seem a little too externally motivated for my liking. But maybe I'm just a hater. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now there's one last rider we need to discuss. From the sport that has been responsible for the most Lyon 25 attempts by far, he was the only one to get it done. And he did it on the first try. Mate, how has he done that? He's done a tail whip and then a bar spin and then he just lands like nothing. I don't get it. And that's not even the craziest part. Apparently he did this after a late night of partying, completely hungover and on only 4 hours sleep.
I was so in hangover, my body was shaking and I'd be so nervous.
The other 15 scooter riders who tried this must be watching like, what the fuck? But you get people like this in extreme sports. Super laid back and chilled out, but they have that perfect concoction of bravery and talent which just make them better than everyone else.
Just look for the gap one time, not even a run-up or a speed run-up or whatever. Just look, be like, okay guys, you ready? I go. One try. I was scared, but in my head, some little guy told me, yeah, you can do it. You can do it.
I mean, just look at his interview. The dude could not be more chill, while the French guy that filmed it still seems to be in disbelief about the whole thing.
The scooter wasn't bent, not even the wheels, nothing. It's just like, it just sent it like it was like the breakfast.
And then apparently he did one of the biggest madnesses in scootering later that day. It's just a different level of extreme sports athlete. But out of all of these, which one was the hardest? Well, despite how perfect Kristian's one was, how complex Fabio's was, and how dangerous all the parkour ones were, I'm still convinced that Giraud's ollie from 2015 stands alone above the rest as the most impressive stunt ever performed on Lyon 25. Skateboarding is the oldest and largest sport on this list, and there is a reason why no one else has done it or even really come close. If I was making this video and no one had ever done it on a skateboard, I would say it's impossible. With no suspension, no handlebars, and rock hard wheels, I think it is by far the most difficult wheelcraft to take a massive impact on without falling off. Giraud himself admitted that it was only possible for him because he used some soft prototype wheels which absorbed just that tiny bit more impact to get him over the edge. But the main reason he landed it is because he managed to keep his center of gravity completely aligned with the board to the point of perfection. His legs bend inward and he does a complete full squat where his bum almost touches the floor. So he takes all the impact straight down, because if he even shifts a little bit to the side, he gets ejected from his board like we've seen so many times. I'm no skateboarder, but I can safely say this is the most impressive piece of skateboarding that I've ever seen. And I'm honestly not sure if we'll ever see another skateboarder get this done. It was the birth of the most iconic extreme sports spot in the world, and I think we can all be grateful to Giraud for starting off the coolest inter-sport competition of all time. Okay, so I completely finished this video a few weeks ago, and just when I was about to post it, this happened. I was completely convinced that Giraud's ollie was the hardest thing ever done, and now I have no idea, because this is clearly a more dangerous and spectacular stunt. And what's more, this kid is only 18 years old, and apparently he did it on the second try. Now, I'd say a skateboard is still harder to land on, but this has got to be more impressive, right? Let me know what you think in the comments. Also, subscribe for more videos like this, and let me know if there are any topics you want me to cover in a future video. Until next time, cheers.
Mad as savage in me back and I'm back in it happening, ready to blow. I remember doing deeds with Deji from the street, they left me on my own. Mom kept asking me about how I got the P, I told her leave it mum and grow. Then they're ringing off my phone, then they're ringing off my phone.